You had to solve the puzzles. Oh, we're getting a box. What is this? Why is it all greasy?
It's a trash can.
What is on the side of that trash can?
I don't know. I'm in a hotel room. Probably.
War. War never changes.
Ta-da! Welcome to War Never Changes, episode number 18. My name is Jim, but live from the penthouse suite somewhere on the water's edge, Hilton Diamond Club member, 50 caliber himself, Filbert McCracken Jr. Sir, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. You keep forgetting to mention our sponsors.
Who's our sponsors? Oh, Honey Mussy.
No. We're sponsored by. This production is brought to you by South to North Productions in association with EMA Entertainment.
That's right. That's why you're here. You're here to make sure I don't screw up the intro. Although each week I do type out what I want to call you, and I have to read it verbatim and try not to laugh because it's getting more and more ridiculous for sure.
I think 50 cal Phil McCracken is fine.
Filbert McCracken Jr. is pretty good too, though. But
Wouldn't suggest it. No, don't think that at all.
Okay. Well, we are here this week. We got a lot to talk about. A lot of exciting news has come out, big time. And I think where we're going to start this week is Nintendo. We haven't been giving them much love, and I think it's time to give them some love.
I agree.
So, some big news is coming out this week. This is all rumor and speculation, but it has been semi-confirmed by 4 or 5 different people in the biz, so to speak. So I think it's pretty close to being true, and it is something we have talked about before. We now have a little bit more detail on it, just a smidge more. First is that Nintendo will be releasing Super Mario 3D All-Stars very, very soon.
What even is that?
I'm going to tell you. It is a port of the N64 Mario game, Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. That was such a I'm really excited because to me, Super Mario Galaxy is the best one. I really love the physics in that game. I think they did a really good job.
Folks.
All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, we will see. Oh no, go ahead. You don't like Super Mario Odyssey? Or I'm not Odyssey. Super Mario Galaxy?
Jim's commentary brought to you by Waste Management.
Wow, right when I drank water. Jesus, Phil.
I'm sorry.
Right when I drank, bro. That was dangerously close.
It would be a shame if your fancy monitor got whatever the fuck you're drinking all over it. Okay, your favorite is Super Mario Galaxy. Go.
I think you don't like Super Mario Galaxy?
No, I liked it. It's just trash compared to the other two you mentioned.
Why do you think so?
Why do I think so? Oh, just because I don't think I've ever, like, my first kidnapping involves Super Mario 64. My little brother Michael got a copy of Super Mario 64 for his 6th birthday, and my brother Brendan and I wanted to play it, and he wouldn't let us. And so we took him in the basement and literally tied him up and wouldn't let him leave while we played the game. And we made sure that we had to play through most of it because we were both going to get grounded because he was definitely going to tattle on us. And he did end up tattling on us, and we did get in a lot of trouble. It's just like memories like that, plus, like, I don't know, jumping in and out of the picture frames to progress to different worlds and throwing that baby penguin off the side of the cliff more times than I could.
Oh my God, that poor penguin got murdered thousands of times.
If that penguin represented, if every one of those penguins represented 5 penguins in the world, penguins would be extinct. I don't know. And Super Mario Sunshine, I just remember it being so bright and vibrant and just being like having this stupid idiot smile on my face the whole time I was playing it and really just enjoying the GameCube. And I don't have any special memories like that with Galaxy. So I think it's just more of a personal nostalgia driven thing for me.
Just nostalgia. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I think they're all great games for different reasons. I definitely thought Mario Sunshine was really interesting with the little jetpack mechanic. That was really the first time I think Mario had something outside of just his normal ability to kind of traverse a world. We saw a lot of that in Mario Odyssey where he had Cappy, which I thought was really cool. Apparently, and I didn't know this either, but in doing some investigating, getting ready for the show this week, they actually, as part of a deal for NVIDIA to release the Switch hardware at a reduced cost, Nintendo allowed NVIDIA to re-engineer Mario 64 and sell it on the NVIDIA Shield console only in China. Which is weird, right? But my point is that port does exist. So it would be very easy for them to just grab it and just poop it out on a Switch very quickly. The other, Odyssey, the Sunshine and Galaxy, a little bit different. The one I didn't mention yet, specific to Mario, we'll go on to Zelda in a minute. The one I didn't mention yet was Super Mario 3D World, which was also rumored to be a separate bundle included in that and Mario 3D Land, which was the Switch or the 3DS variant. So potentially, what I'm hearing is 2 separate, like, Ultimate Mario editions. Would you buy this?
I was just about to ask you, what do you think the MSRP is going to be, and what is the max you would pay for each of these things?
All right, nostalgia is a powerful drug. I don't know if I'm jonesing to go back and play any of these games because they're probably not going to be totally remastered. They're probably going to be ports. So you're going to have borders on the side. You're going to have weird pixely, jaggedy kind of things. I don't think you're going to get a complete rebuild from the ground up. That said, I would think probably $30, like $10 a game seems about right for just like a dump kind of port. If they obviously wanted to go crazy with it and say, hey, look, we're building it from the ground up, a brand new engine, or we're going to import the assets into the Mario Odyssey engine, so it's going to kind of look like that, you could charge full price for each of those games independently, I think, if they put that effort into it.
Okay. For the I mean, if they're planning on bundling them together, though, right?
What I have read right now is the tentative plan is that N64, the N64 version of I keep saying N64 version, Mario 64 version, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy will all be in a bundle. That's my current understanding. Those 3 games in one disc or whatever.
My prediction for that is MSRP of $39.99. But if they do completely remaster them, I'm saying that they'll do all 3 the bundle for full price, so $59.99. As far as the other one is concerned, I could see that just coming out again somewhere between $29.99 and $39.99.
Okay, I think those are fair assessments. I've heard as early as this Friday. I've heard months away. Nintendo always releases their games on Friday, so that does, at least that part of the rumor is true, although that's a really soft target.
Yeah, so nothing, 8 months into the year, tease on a Wednesday, major release on Friday. I mean, that's something that Nintendo would do.
Well, you know what, though? The second part of this rumor, and what kind of leads to my really kind of question regarding all this, is the Zelda piece of it. Zelda is supposed to be also getting some sort of bundle treatment. Bundleized. I'll tell you, I got bundleized once last week, and I couldn't sit for 2 days. It's supposed to be Wind Waker HD and Skyward sword?
Man, I really, really, really enjoyed playing Skyward Sword on the Wii.
I hated it, so I want to hear why you liked it.
It was just fun. Who was like the weird bird guy? Ryu or something? I don't know. The arrogant, like, the bipedal birds. Do you remember?
Yes, I do remember that. Was he the one that because you were like in a bird town when the game started, weren't you? Or weren't you in like a town like up in the sky and
You were, but the bird town is somewhere else.
okay, then my knowledge of this game is about this much.
Okay. Well, maybe we shouldn't discuss it then, because any sort of
No.
nostalgic thing I'm going to mention.
Well, here's what I remember about the game because you said you enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it for the story?
So let's put our cards on the table. I can't put it. I can't put an exact reason or specific memory of why I enjoyed it. I just remember smiling the whole time I played it. And honestly, I am just kind of like a Legend of Zelda fanboy, and
Okay.
it just makes me happy every time a new one comes out that I get to play. And I think I was just happy to get a new Zelda game, and I was stoked to check it out, and I enjoyed playing it. I'm more interested to hear why you didn't enjoy Skyward Sword.
So I actually hated the gimmick of the whole Wiimote Plus and the whole Wiimote thing. If you remember, Link's movements were very heavily tied to how you held that stupid remote. And when you wanted to swing your sword, you didn't tap A. You did this, or you did this, or you did this. And you had a lot of gimmicks that involved you to. There was that little beetle that you could use for like reconnaissance. And you had to hold the remote out like this, and you would like turn it. And it was like a little airplane, and you had to fly it through dungeons and stuff. And Phil, that shit never worked. And it took a puzzle that should have been this and it made it like this.
You are infuriating. That's such a stupid reason not to enjoy a game. But
Dude, the fact that the controls suck is an infuriating reason.
if
Okay.
memory serves correctly, because that wasn't exactly inclusive having it like that, there was a way to bypass that and you can remap the buttons. Yes, yes. Dude, do you think I'm like over here with my lazy ass going like this? No, I'm
Yes.
pretty sure that you could reset the button to where if you tap Z, the trigger, that's what swung your sword.
What I was gonna say about this game was if they do remaster it, there's been a lot of talk about how they would remaster it because if you recall, the Nintendo Switch, or I'm sorry, the Wii U or the Wii, whatever, had that separate sensor that you put near your TV, and that was kind of like your zero. So if you aimed it at that sensor, that was zero. The problem is if you ported those controllers over to a Switch, the Switch doesn't know where zero is. It will know relative. It'll know you're tilting back or forward, but there's no like dead center position for you to say like this is where I want to move forward. So what I'm getting at is for them to port this game over to the Switch, they're going to have to probably remove a large portion of those motion controls. I would be okay with that, and then I would enjoy it. But I thought the controls got in the way of that game way too much, and it really seemed like a gimmick to me.
Okay. I can envision us spending the next 30 minutes arguing about this.
Good, let's do it, because we don't have a lot to talk about today.
We'll agree to disagree and move on to the other things you wanted to talk about.
Well, no, listen, fool. I am going to continue to tell you more negative things. Do you remember all of the gimmicky crap we've seen so far? You remember we had the Wiimote we talked about. We had the Super Scope. We had the Virtual Boy. We had the measuring pad or the weight pad or whatever the hell it was. We had the 3DS thing. I think the problem is if Zelda or Mario, although Mario didn't seem to really rely on these gimmicks as much as Zelda did, I'm worried that if they start to try to port these games into the future, they're going to have to make a hard rule at some point and say, you know what, we're going to remove all that crap and we're going to go back to just basic up, down, left, right, A, B. I think they're going to have to make that decision.
listen, fuckface. You need to show some serious gratitude for Nintendo doing those things, because Nintendo is the only one that ever wants to operate outside the box and try new things. And everything that you perceive as a gimmick is them trying to innovate or bring some sort of new edge to their games. And they're the only ones that consistently will take risks and put themselves out there. And if we don't have companies that are willing to operate outside the box and take risks and do things in our best interest, or what they think in their weird Japanese Nintendo way is our best interest, then everything's just going to be boring, and it's going to look like the new Xbox Series X, which looks like literally a garbage can with a glowing green top. I mean, thank God for creativity, and thank God for thinking outside the box. So even if you didn't enjoy it, let's be grateful that they tried to do something. Fuckface.
I am grateful that I've never seen a square garbage can, for what it's worth. I just want to point that out. Usually I'm thinking like the metal. You're talking about like the home garbage can. I'm thinking like the one you put out in your street. It's like the steel one.
Yeah, but you're always thinking about like how far can I stretch my anus to get things up in that crevice.
Jesus.
So I mean, I know that square doesn't work for that, but I
didn't realize you were such a pissy baby about Zelda. This is a really good. Now I'm gonna poke the bear.
I'm not pissy baby about this. You called me a fool, so now I'm just engaging in banter with you. If you want, I can just go back to normal, but it makes you laugh when I act like this. So
you do,
and it's entertaining.
I think it is entertaining. Yeah, I think that the problem is a lot of those, and I'm going to say gimmicks, because they didn't last. If when Nintendo made the analog stick, that revolutionized gaming. Absolutely. When the N64 had an analog stick, they were the first to do it. Everybody followed suit. It's a staple of gaming today. Motion control, voice activated crap, it's a dime a dozen. It comes, it goes. And I think Skyward Sword is held back by the fact that the controls are just a little too cumbersome by today's standards. People don't want to play. Zelda's always been fun because they had the puzzles. You had to solve the puzzles. Oh, we're getting a box. What is this? Why is that all greasy?
It's a trash can.
What is on the side of that trash can?
I don't know. I'm in a hotel room. Probably jizz. Well, this is trash, and this is Jim's opinion. See, they're both trash. We do prop comedy on this show sometimes.
Well, we got our opening for the week. That's funny. Yeah, really, I really do think it holds it back, and I think that that's something they're going to have to give a serious look at. The fact that it was so integrated in the dungeon puzzle part makes me think that they're going to have a hard time integrating, because it really did. I remember there were puzzles where you had to have two eyeballs look at each other, and you had to move your sword around and have them go cross-eyed, or things like that. You can't just rip that out. It doesn't work that easy.
No. So if I untendy for a moment and I stop being obnoxious for the sake of entertainment, I will concede your point that yes, a lot of the challenge and the interaction around that game was intertwined and meshed with that control system. So to take that all out, how do you reintroduce a challenge or a genuine engagement with the game when it was solely that game was kind of made to sell this gimmicky experimental controller setup? So I mean, of course they could just remap the buttons, I guess, but I don't know how engaging that would be. But your basic smartphone has a gyroscope in it, and you can set it to true north and true south or whatever, and you can set it flat. It has that stuff in it. And sometimes I used to remember orienting my new iPhones and having to do that and set the gyroscope. So I would think that that's fairly accessible, and maybe even I dare to call it basic technology, that if they couldn't do a patch, I've heard rumors that there's kind of a new upgraded Switch console coming out, and that may have the controllers may have some sort of function, gyroscopic setting inside, or maybe the new I don't want to say the new console, but the new screen or home docking station or whatever, maybe that will be the quote-unquote zero. But you are right. A lot of that game is tied to that control system, and your point is very, very, very valid.
Well, either way, whether the control scheme makes sense or not, I would love to see Skyward Sword get a little more love because it does seem to be really like the Forgotten Zelda. I think I feel like Wind Waker's gotten remastered a couple times. Definitely Ocarina of Time, definitely Majora's Mask, but Wind Waker or Skyward Sword just it kind of came left. It's okay. I don't know. I feel like it needs some love. I feel like it was a good game and a good concept.
It's not all that old though. So I mean, now is kind of the appropriate time for if it's going to get a remaster to get a remaster. Honestly, I'd rather see them. I'd rather see them port and do a remaster of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask for the Switch. I'd much rather see that. I mean, I'll pay $60 each for those, no problem. But if they remaster Skyward Sword for the Switch, I'll buy it. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I would be curious to see how many of these games actually come to fruition. Nintendo has really been, and we've talked about this before. Nintendo has been extremely quiet this year. They just had a Nintendo Direct. They dropped a random one today, but it was an indie Direct. It wasn't really a lot of news there, a lot of indie stuff. They've done a couple indie worlds. Oh, here's the garbage can. Yep. I knew that's where we were going with. So you had the indie world stuff that came out that didn't really seem to make a whole lot of noise. Um, but I think ultimately looking kind of, at their big titles coming out, yes, we had, Animal Crossing, but I would love to see them do something. And whether or not this is tied to this potential new hardware upgrade or not, they have a really deep library of stuff they can work with, even if it is a report or remaster or whatever. Like they have a lot of toys to pick when they want to. They're just not using them right now, and I don't know why.
How Nintendo of them would that be to swoop in right before these two brand new consoles and all these launch titles are going to launch, to swoop in like September or October and just get everyone's money? Like they're not launching a new console this year. I mean, I guess they could launch Breath of the Wild 2, but I mean, if they just start consistently releasing games and they cash in before people buy these consoles, I mean, super smart on their part.
You're
and
right.
Nobody saw it coming.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those things where, in the console wars it has been so PlayStation and Xbox have done such a financially push to make sure you're only talking about their console. So for Nintendo to come out of nowhere with an announcement, boy, would that really shake things up because they're basically riding on the backs of everybody for free, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we exist, and here's the game you wanted. Here's your childhood in a little disc, and have fun. See you later." Like that would be
So,
awesome. That would be awesome.
it's I really hope they do that. That's so smart. Let Sony and Microsoft spend all their money making everyone get whipped up and excited about games and engaged
Right.
with Jeff Keighley's random fucking Canadian ass and everything he's doing. And then they swoop in right before the consoles launch. They're like, pew, 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 pew. Here's all the shit you've been asking for 10 years. Give us all your money.
Who knows, man? I mean, it'll be interesting to see. So yeah, that whole rumor that has been gaining a lot of traction. There's been a lot of discussion lately regarding that. So I would love to get just a phantom drop, and that's what Nintendo seems to be known for lately, just coming out of nowhere and saying, "Oh, by the way, here's a game, check it out." Because these games really don't need much advertisement. They're just gonna be out. Like you're gonna know about them through word of mouth. They don't really need to be reviewed because they are remastered or re-whatevered. So you know what it is. You're just gonna see it, and it's gonna be an impulse buy, and that's probably what they want.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Okay, switching gears a little bit. I today partook in a world event on Call of Duty. And in case you didn't know, Call of Duty is been teasing the release of Cold War. And today they had an in-game event where you could participate and actually see a little Easter egg of the upcoming game. And I took part in it. It was fun. It was really cool. The interesting thing about it was at the end, when it immediately takes you to the screen to buy the game. Of course.
Exit through the gift shop, folks.
Yeah, it really was that, and it was like, wait, what? So what they did was they are basically wanting you to buy their game. Which, hey, listen, I'm a fan. I still play Call of Duty. I like it. I'm all in. Here's where it gets a little tricky, and I wanted to get your take on this because there's been a lot of news cycling around the last couple hours about what this includes. So, you know that Xbox has been a real proponent of the smart delivery system, and PlayStation is quietly tagging along, saying that we're going to be taking a game, and if you buy it for now, know with confidence that when the next version or upgrade comes out, you're going to get it for free, right? Enter Call of Duty. These guys, I'll tell you what, you could buy the game for $60. That would get you the PlayStation 4 version or the Xbox One version. For $70, you get those versions and you get the upgrade.
So what is it? Is Xbox going to give me the $70 one for 60, or what's the deal?
No, they are quiet in this. As it turns out, there is I'm not even gonna. I was gonna pull it up on another screen, but the font's about this big. They have released a 3-page public relations statement explaining all of the various versions, what you get, what you don't get, and I swear I've read this and I still don't understand it. From what I can gather, if you want to buy the physical version of either game, you can, but know that even though it will work, so you can buy it for PlayStation 4, if you got a PlayStation 5, the game will run, but it will still look like PlayStation 4. There's a separate upgrade fee to get PlayStation 5 graphics. Same holds true for Xbox as well. And there is questions about, can I buy a standalone PlayStation 5 version? Can I buy a standalone Xbox Series X version? And kind of remains to be seen. So this is one of the few instances where everybody else has gotten online and said, we are going to just do what everybody else does. Call of Duty knows they're going to get your money and they're going to take it. What do you think about that?
This is your soft introduction to next-gen games being $69.99 instead of $59.99. That's what this is.
I agree.
Activision does shitty stuff like this, and everyone's just gonna bitch about Blizzard, I guess. I don't know. It's and it also goes against Microsoft's core promise with the smart delivery that you're going to get the best version of whatever it is that you buy it for. You're going to get the best version when the next best version or whatever comes out. So,
but do
I don't know.
you think
that's a pretty major franchise to have that be the first one to not fall in line.
Do you think Microsoft really has that kind of pull, though, to be able to tell anybody, listen, if you're coming to our platform, you better do this for free? Like, it was a bold move when they said it. I was shocked so many people already signed up to it, but it seems like not everybody wants to sign up to it anymore.
Well, it looks like Activision's calling their bluff. We could go console exclusive with PS5 if you want to fuck with us, I guess. I don't know. This is actually a big problem, man, because that's like one of the linchpins of their push for the Xbox Series X is the smart delivery system.
Yes,
we're laughing about this, but as it sinks in more and more, this is a big deal.
It is.
This is another terrible thing that has happened to Microsoft.
Yeah, the reason I brought it up specifically, focusing on the Xbox piece, we know that PlayStation and Activision have a partner, like a business arrangement. The official Call of Duty League is run on PlayStation consoles. PlayStation gets a lot of content first. They get a lot of exclusive content. So I understand that part of it. The part with the smart delivery piece, I agree with you. That's a big deal. And if you're Phil Spencer or if you're in the Xbox camp looking for a win right now, this has got to be pretty bad. This has got to feel pretty bad. Considering you were able to shake so many other people in the industry to your will to say you will be, buy with confidence. Arguably, the only game that matters out of that basically just told you to pound sand.
Oh well, it was nice to know you, Xbox.
Yeah, and I wonder honestly, I mean, reading into this and just seeing the tweets and kind of scanning it as we're talking here. I'm not entirely sure people are blaming Xbox like, oh, you've let us down, Phil. Like, I don't think people are taking it this way. It seems like Call of Duty is kind of picking a fight with everybody else, saying, well, if you don't like it, don't buy it. We know you're going to buy it, but you don't have to. We're only the biggest thing on the planet. This seems like a unforced error on their part. But at the same time, I have always said, and I did always question, why is this a thing? No, never in the history of consoles has consoles ever carried over this promise of buy it and then get it again later for free. It's never been that way. This is a unique instance that Microsoft has kind of forced this topic, but it seems as if there are some companies still in the old guard that are saying, no, this does cost us more effort and we want to be paid for it.
Yeah, this is a good example of Activision saying, "You're not going to dictate the terms of my work. You're not going to dictate how I run my business." And it's also Activision saying, "We don't believe enough in your platform to play by your stupid rules, and we don't think Xbox is going to be around long enough for this to matter."
Well, I mean, they're doing the same thing to PlayStation as well. I mean, they're saying, look,
Yeah, but PlayStation didn't fucking promise that.
well, that's true. No, you're right. PlayStation has been, they've kind of ridden on the coattails of it. Like, oh, we're doing it too. Like Avengers is upgrading. We are too.
Now, the guy even said during when they released the console, the CEO or whoever the fuck that white guy was, after they revealed the
Are you
console,
talking about PlayStation? Jim
yeah.
Ryan,
Jim Ryan, whoever that white guy was, Jim
a
Ryan, the
white
white
guy.
guy. He even kind of like subtly bashed the smart delivery system.
Yes.
I believe he said, if you want the highest quality version, you're going to purchase the highest quality version or something tantamount to that. I forget. He did it. He was a smooth operator, man. He got that little dig in there, and like I was like, okay. I just accepted it and moved on. He got me while I was in the the coitus afterglow, so to speak.
Well, and Phil Spencer did come out and make a statement not too long ago, basically saying how funny it was that console generations were a thing. Like, we are transcending that. The idea of you settling for console generations, shame on you. So to see this news follow up right after is like really egg on the face. And it's like, but yeah, I'm curious to see how this is digested by people because really, as of right now, nobody's really, looking at the sites I'm kind of scrolling through as we're talking here. I don't see people targeting Xbox per se. They're just kind of upset at the situation as a whole.
A basic principle of negotiation is whoever speaks first loses. That's a known thing. And Phil Spencer spoke first. He shouldn't have said that. There was no reason for him to say that.
Yeah.
That was an obvious desperation move. That wasn't even pandering to the lowest common denominator. That was just showing your cards. He just showed the world that he was scared. And it was a moment of weakness, and he shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, I do think that there is. I mean, this really kind of leads into the console wars as a whole, basically, right now, where neither Xbox or PlayStation want to show their hand.
War's over.
And that makes sense by what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, we should stop referring it to the console wars. We should just call it, the next generation of consoles because PlayStation has a resounding win here. It's
Judgment Day.
It's Judgment Day came and went, and Microsoft was found wanting.
I was thinking of Judgment Day where the fire wave comes through and murders everybody. That's the part I was referring to in my head, where she's grabbing the cage and she's like, the flames blow her over. Yeah, I'm a Terminator fan. Okay, so moving on to Xbox, a little more Xbox news, and then we'll circle back to something else. Let me just make a little amendment here in my show notes. So speaking of that, and we talked a little bit about this, but I didn't hear your thoughts on this channel. That's what I want to know. Rumor has it Halo Infinite is about to cut support for the Xbox One, the Xbox One S, and the Xbox One X because they cannot get their game to run on old hardware. And many people who were very, very many people who were very on board with this one Xbox have now since kind of turned the tide and said, you know what, maybe all you dorky engineers were right, saying that this is holding back the development, and now we're seeing it, at least in rumor form. There's probably some truth to it. Does this surprise you? Do you care? Is it matter anymore? I mean, really, like, would you have played it anyway on the Xbox One? Like, what are you thinking about this?
Over to the right sits the current most powerful gaming console on Earth, my Xbox One X. Yeah, it's over here, but to you, it would be over there. You're telling me that this thing can't render shitty clouds?
Can't render shitty clouds.
we can't figure out a grappling hook and some slightly improved graphics. No. It's not like they're going to show the Arbiter and he's going to look like a human being, or they're going to show John's face and he's going to look exactly like he would if you saw him in real life. I don't know, man. It's just like, yeah, I was planning on playing this game on Xbox One because I'm as it sits right now, I'm not planning on upgrading to the Xbox Series X. But I've recently become a pretty hardcore Halo fan, and I'm a little pissed off about this, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's funny because as much as a Sony guy as I am, I love Halo so much, and I just always want to root for them. I want them to matter. I want it to be relevant. It deserves to be relevant. And they just keep tripping over their own feet. I think it would do a lot for the brand if they could find a way to diversify the audience as much as possible. Because we tried to play Warzone last night and I quit the queue because after 3 minutes, there were 2 people in the world playing, and it was you and me. Now, granted, the game is a couple years old. However, if you don't think that matters, go back and look at Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It still has an active fan base, the original one. I'm talking about Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. People still play that on multiplayer today on their old platforms. They have a blast doing it. So yeah, I want to see it work. But at the same time, I want Halo to be amazing. And if that means make it amazing on the new console, then that's what I think they need to do.
Yeah, says the guy who has one of the most technologically advanced gaming computers on the Eastern Seaboard. Oh, my computer can run anything. Do whatever you need to do, Halo.
I'm ready. Well, but that's the thing is like, does it matter to the fans that it looks as good as possible? I have a blast playing all the Halos with you. We went through all those. We're going to talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah, we played Halo 1 on classic graphics.
Yes, and it looked great, and it played great, and it was fun, and after about 5 minutes, you forgot everything looked like crap, and you just got into it, and you enjoyed it because it ran well, and the music worked. There's so many other things outside of just a snapshot of how pretty is it. You take away HDR, you take away bloom effects, you take away draw distance, you add in the look, the feel, the sound, all that stuff in the game, and the sum is much greater than the parts. And Halo is a perfect example of that. So I know they can do more with less. It's just if they want to ooh and ah us with eye candy, then they really need to do that. They need to figure out what this game needs to be. And unfortunately, after 5-6 years of development, they still don't know that answer. That's the worrying thing to me.
Yeah. I don't know. HDR only makes a difference in my mind. HDR and those other effects that are commonplace now, they only make a difference if they work. And as we saw with Far Cry 5, whose HDR system on the Xbox is totally fucked. I mean, in serious, dude, the game is so bright I can barely play it.
It's bright.
I mean, in the morning when the sun's coming over the mountains, when you're up in the Whitetail Mountain range, you can't play the game. You have to sit there and you have to wait for it to get a little darker. It's awful.
It's Joseph Seed's warm embrace.
It's Joseph Seed's warm something on your face.
Joseph Seed's
Speaking of
seed. Joseph's seed. There we go. It took a while to get there.
I was waiting.
But I'll tell you, it is interesting though. I mean, if you're going to make a game look pretty, then that's fine. Own it. if you're going to say, I don't care about performance in terms of graphics and HDR and pixel count and cross-checkering 4K and draw distance, this is the vision, this is the feeling we want you to get from the game. Do it. That's okay. It doesn't have to be a technical showcase, but I feel like that there's 2 or 3 different schools of thought, and like whoever speaks the loudest, 343 is like, oh, you're right, you're right. And it's just make up your mind and just own the vision. Good or bad, just say this is what it is and this is what we're doing. We're not talking about it anymore. Let us go finish our game.
The only thing that a gaming developer has to do is deliver on what they say the game is going to be.
Yeah.
When you set an expectation and you underpromise and overdeliver, that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Take a peek in a mirror and look at that shirt that you're wearing. That represents a revolution in gaming, one of the best-selling games of all time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
I think you and I talked about this. You mentioned a statistic I didn't even know about. People, if a game is fun and engaging and people like it, it'll sell well.
Right.
I mean, look at that character that's on your shirt. It looks like someone took a square shit. You've never seen a square trash can? Well, someone obviously found one.
The creeper.
And when he was done doing what you do with circular trash cans, he took a shit and it was that character.
Yep.
That's what that looks like. And that game looks terrible. It looks like basically old 8-bit architecture.
Yep.
And it's like the #1 selling game of all time. So as long as you're setting the expectation and delivering on it consistently, people don't care as long as it's fun. Just make us a fun fucking game. But Halo promises to consistently look beautiful and play beautifully,
right.
And they've fallen on their faces. And it's really too late for them to say, hey, we're not going to do this on Xbox One X anymore, even though we told you one Xbox forever.
Well, it's a lot of these little, death by 1,000 cuts to the overall architecture, or at least design or promise of what the Series X was going to be to begin with. You're seeing a lot of laid out plans, maybe carefully, maybe not, are starting to kind of all blow up around the same time, and it is worrisome. I always, when you talk about Xbox, it's hard not to talk about Halo, because Halo has done so much for console gaming in a way that Nintendo and Mario have done for console gaming in generations past. I mean, it really brought a first-person shooter into a console space, which was really never done before. And it ran well. It's a very, the story, whether you like it or not, it's spawned off a whole transmedia organization of comics and movies and DVDs and all these other things outside of the game and books. But yeah, this is really like, this is the great hope for Xbox, is that Halo is going to come out, it's going to sell well, and then everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to work itself out. As long as we have a good Halo game, everything's going to be okay. And that business strategy works as long as you can deliver on the fact that Halo is going to be a good game. And, you and I, this is a great time to talk about it. We did just finish all 5 Halo games. I know technically ODST is a Halo game. I'm not including it here. We finished all those games, and you saw the quality really, really rise and lower, especially at the end, especially with Halo 5 Guardians. So I know I've played it 15 times, but to you, give me your thoughts on Halo. What do you think?
So, shame on me. I hadn't played all the games.
You bastard.
I fancied myself a Halo fan, and I don't think I could answer a single question that you asked me throughout the entirety of the games that we played. I love Halo so much now that we've taken the time to do it. I don't know if that's amplified by just laughing and giggling and having fun with you.
Oh, yes, and getting murdered every night when you accidentally shoot me with a tank.
Did I do that?
All I know is I was running ahead to get in the Ghost, and then all of a sudden this tank round hits me.
No, there was another Ghost up there fighting with one of the Covenant, and I tried to kill the other Ghost, and you happened to be there.
Oh,
okay?
Got it.
I'm sorry. Get over it. I'll own up to it when I kill you on purpose, or I'll just giggle.
I just want to clarify, I did get over it when my body ragdolled in the air for about 34 minutes as I waited to respawn. I got over it and over it and over it, but I digress. Go ahead. Tell me about your love for Halo. I want to hear this. This is really important.
all my newfound love for the game and all the fun like memories that we've made together. Halo 4 is the best Halo game ever made, hands
Yes.
down. I don't care what anyone says until I play Infinite, if it ever comes out, and if it ever works on any Xbox console. When next Microsoft's be like, well, the Xbox Series X isn't quite powerful enough to play this game. So if you don't own a PC that has the best specs, you can't play it.
Right.
But yeah, Halo Combat Evolved. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I'd much rather play Halo 4 than I would Halo 5, even with all its updated little bits and bobbles. And you know what? I really like the Spartan ground pound, and I like that if you jump in the air and you aim, you hover there for a second, you can get a good tactical shot off.
Yeah.
We played some Halo 5 multiplayer, which was fun, but I'd much rather spend time going back and playing through campaign on Halo 4. It was a much better story. The sound effects in that game were amazing. When I was firing the AR, it actually sounded like an AR, which I fired in real life. I know how they sound. It just it blew me away. And it's old, that's an Xbox 360 game. It's old technology. This wasn't a remastered version that I'm aware of. This is just the Xbox 360 version ported into the Master Chief Collection. Right. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct. Yeah, there was no enhancements other than slight buffer to the frame rate, but texturally, no, an identical game.
Yeah. So I don't know what Halo's problem is. I don't know why 343 Studios is doing this to us, but they put like a little note. They put that little note at the end of Halo 4, and they're like, "Thank you for trusting us with this transformative franchise, and we promise you we'll treat it like our baby." And then you know what they did with that baby? They Planned Parenthood that baby.
Where's the garbage can? Yep. It's sad because it really does. Honestly, it's funny how history tends to repeat itself. And honestly, Halo 4, I think, in of itself, a case study on Halo 4's development. Multiplayer, single player, sound design, how 343 got involved, all that stuff. If you look at that story and then you kind of overlay it with what's going on right now with Halo Infinite and with with the Xbox Series X, there are so many parallels. It's eerie. It's so eerie that a studio came out of the gate, had a really solid idea, stuck through to it, and delivered, and then immediately turned around and started listening to everybody and totally lost their vision. And that's the transformation you saw between 4 and 5. And it's so bizarre to me that here we are with Xbox again. Don Matrick comes up on stage. I'm going to be the flag bearer. Xbox One is always going to be online. That's the way it's going to be. Oh, you don't like it? Okay, we're scrapping that idea. And you saw the de-evolution of that platform. It's so amazing to me, and there's so many more points I can get. But I do agree with you. Halo 4 was so good. After playing that and playing 5, it sucks.
There are some musical artists and actors and performers that once they achieve success, they fall apart because they can't handle the limelight and they can't handle the overwhelming success. And I don't care however anyone wants to characterize Halo 4, that was a fantastic game and it was a successful game, and they should have kept going with that story arc. I just don't think that 343 was ready for the limelight, and I don't think that they were prepared for how passionate the Halo fan base was going to be and how opinionated it was going to be.
Yeah.
And you know what? They had something fantastic, and then they fucked it all up. I played Halo 5 with you from start to finish. We had some Blake action mixed in there.
Blake action, that's right.
But for the most part, I remember what was going on with the story. And we just finished it last night, and I don't remember what happened to Cortana. I don't remember what happened because it was so stupid. Like, they take this pivotal character in the franchise, and then they just turn her into a psychotic bitch. Evil person, evil like entity or whatever, cured rampancy. She betrays the UNSC. That's such a weird way for them to finish her legacy or to go with her.
And the fact that it was unresolved, that's probably why you zoned out, because really nothing happened in that game. Nothing of consequence occurred. Chief went after her, found her, and she's like, no, bye. And she flew away. And that's pretty much what happened. You fought the Warden Eternal about 607,000 times between there. But but yeah, I think back to really the end of Halo 3 with, the funeral scene, and still
Yep.
chokes me up. And then I think to the end of Halo 4 where Lasky walks in and Chief's just standing there brooding and he's like, those are really emotional moments. You don't have any of those in Halo 5, and it's going to be hard to rekindle some of that desire for a good story. You're going to have to fix what you did in 5 before you even tackle Infinite's story. Then you add in all these other technical issues, and I would not. That's a tough place to be right now, man. God, I got to think the morale of 343 has got to be just in the toilet. It's got to be.
Unless they're all out of touch with reality. Yeah.
Maybe they think that they're doing great work, and they're just eating whatever the executives tell them to do, and they're just falling in love with everything the executives say.
We're doing the Lord's work over here. We're doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You think about like Phil Spencer or Aaron Greenberg or Matt Booty or Mike Ybarra before he quit, Major Nelson, coming in the studio, walking up and down the aisles of 343, patting them all on the back. You guys are doing great. You're doing great. Maybe you should make this one little change. And everybody's getting their fingers into the DNA of 343. And you look at what 4 was versus 5 was, and you see it. I know. Hey, that's what she said. But you see it. You really do see it. And it just sucks. So I hear you, man.
This is Phil Spencer talking to someone at 343 about their creative vision for Infinite. Let me just undo the zipper here and just fucking tell me all about it.
Last thing we'll talk about for this week is tomorrow is the opening night live of Gamescom 2020. Now, I know have you heard of Gamescom before? I guess that's a good starting point. You have, okay. So this is going to be a virtual event, thanks COVID, just like all of E3's been this year. And I'm sure at some point in the next week or two, we'll finally look back at what E3 dissolved into this year. But Gamescom is coming tomorrow with Jeff Keighley toting a 2-hour live premiere of tons of stuff, tons of announcements. He's got a list of about 30 or so vendors who are ready to show you what they've been working on. My question to you, Phil. 1, do you care? And 2, what do you need to see to validate this event? Or is there nothing to validate it?
No, I don't care. But if there was an announcement on Elder Scrolls 6, Grand Theft Auto 6, or a new Fallout that was actually good, that would be great.
Those are some lofty goals. Now, Bethesda will be there, but I doubt they'll show those games. They might.
I mean, I'll settle for a Starfield fucking announcement at this point. I mean, because I'm going to buy that game. I don't know what the fuck
Nobody
it is,
does.
But I trust Todd Howard, and I fucking hate Pete Hines, but they just won't fucking fire him, so I guess I got to get over it.
Embrace it.
That's Jesus. Fucking Jim when he thinks about Pete Hines. Just real aggressive.
Real aggressive.
He looks at Pete Hines' head like he does a Roundtree.
Wow.
No, I don't care about Gamescom at all. I'm excited to see your reaction to it, but I can just imagine you're just going to be like, meh.
I think for me, I think that I always want to think the positive in these things. I always want to believe. I want to feel the passion. Halo 4's logo, believe, right? Halo Infinite's tagline is believe. I want to believe
that the game will come out eventually.
I want to believe that game studios have looked back on the last 4 months of these announcements, other than the PlayStation reveal, which was one of the best. And they've probably looked and said, there's really nothing we can go back and look at and say, man, that was a really good show. All these stupid indie shows that have come and gone, all these dumb announcements that have really not mattered. I feel like everyone is now laser focused into Gamescom. They are the event of 2020, which is odd because it never used to be that way, but it is now. And I'm hoping, I know this is super wishful thinking, but I'm hoping that these studios are like, you know what? We have the world's attention now. Now is the time to unveil greatness, and that's what I'm hoping for.
The event of the year was the PS5 reveal.
I think you're right. But I want to give one more chance to anybody, any taker who's coming to this thing. Bethesda, Square Enix, Nintendo, Xbox, any third-party studio. Show us your stuff. Everybody's watching. We're all fevering at the mouth for something. Make us all fans of your product. That's my plea.
All right. I'm going to try to keep an open mind to it. There's nothing, a new PlayStation is a once every 7 or 8 years kind of thing. They did it. That not only is it a special moment in and of itself, even if they botched the fucking reveal, but they did not botch the reveal.
Sure.
They did anything but botch it. They unbotched it. I don't know, man. I just, after riding in the Mercedes, I can't help but think everything else is going to just be a Buick, which is still good. Buick's a nice car, but it's not a Mercedes.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. It's weird. It's a weird time. It's tomorrow, so that'll be 8:27, and it'll be at 1:30 p.m. EST. Weird time.
Do they not realize that people have fucking jobs?
The weird thing is, it's a virtual event in Germany, but live streamed from Jeff Keighley's studio in Los Angeles. So it's just such a weird, I don't know why they chose this time. I mean, people are working. It's not a typically like E3 is like on a Sunday or Saturday, like EA plays Saturday. Usually Xbox would come out on Sunday with Ubisoft on Sunday as well. Thursday at 1:30 just doesn't scream hype. It's not even a round number, like 1:30, like it can't be 1. I don't know. I could easily pick holes in this just based on the little bit I know, but I'm going to remain vigilant on this one, and I'm excited, and I'm sure we'll have nothing to talk about from it next week, but maybe we will. Here's hoping.
What I always tell my employees when they get their hopes up about something I know is going to happen is I look them right in the eyes and I tell them prepare for disappointment. I think you should prepare for disappointment.
Well, with that uplifting note, is there any other hot topics you want to address this week, or do you feel content? Did you get everything out that you wanted to say? It's open forum.
I think I'm good, brother.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to do what I did last week, and I'm going to close my video out so it's just you. I'm going to be I'm fading into the void. So you can have the limelight to send us out, because I always like to hear this is all eyes on you, sir.
Oh.
And here we go. So for me, farewell. Phil, please, sir, send us out.
So to send us out, as the idea that Jim will keep getting more and more handsome every time we record, that never changes, and neither does war. War never changes, Jim.